Hi again then guys, and welcome to a kind of tune setup which is a little bit different, of course, but then again this DLC is different. It's the first time, of course, Forza has ever featured something quite this crazy. They've done stuff like it before, but not quite LEGO level, and I was really hoping for one thing in particular from the LEGO update, and that was that you could actually tune the cars, and thankfully you can. And not only can you tune them, they're actually almost as quick as the regular versions in the game, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as tuning this car, I chose to go with the Mini first, because it's the car that pretty much everyone who gets the LEGO pack, if not everyone, just automatically gets. So it's very easy to get, you just pretty much get given it immediately, and then you can set about tuning it. Now, one of the things as well that I was wondering about with this car is, would it be as leery as the regular classic Mini is that this, of course, is based on, the Monte Carlo style Mini? Because in the game you can make that a very fast car, but it's pretty leery on the handling side of things. Funnily enough, this is actually a better handling car than that Mini, and one of the reasons why is probably the weight. It is a significantly heavier vehicle than that one. Now, the specs on this one are totally wrong. I do not know what they're talking about when it comes to the 0 to 100 in particular, because 39 seconds is ridiculous. This thing does not take 39 seconds to get to 100, and it definitely doesn't take 8 seconds to get to 100. I haven't actually timed it, but I reckon the 0 to 100 is probably more like 4 or 5 seconds, if that. So I'm not sure what they're talking about there. The top speed, though, is the opposite. It's not quite as high, or at least we'll find out in a second when we race it. It is, however, though, comfortably over 200. It just takes a little bit longer and a really long road to actually get that last bit of speed. Now, as far as tuning the car itself, you want to do all of the upgrades that you can, which is not very much. You can drop the weight, you can convert it from all-wheel drive to, I think, rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, but don't bother doing that. You need all the grip you can get. And of course upgrade the power as high as it will go, which is over 700 horses. Now, as far as the gearbox, for some strange reason it has 8 gears to work with, which is interesting. You don't really need that. So as far as the ratios for those gears, you want the final drive on 2.4. Then for the individual gears, 5.25, 3.4, 2.45, 1.89, 1.52, 1.29, 1.13 and 0.98. Then for the alignment, I would strongly recommend giving it some camber, and that's one of the reasons why it's so much better for handling than it easily could be. 1.5 degrees on the front, 1 degree on the back. I've got the caster angle as low as it can go, as you can see. For the anti-roll, I've increased those substantially to 20 and 15. The springs are on 40. I've opted for the highest ride height. You don't have to do that. You could drop it if you want it to be more of a low rider. But the reason why I've left it high is because it is a rally-based Mini at the end of the day, so of course better ground clearance will be better off-road, and you don't really sacrifice much speed, if any, by doing that, so I'll leave that up to you. As far as the dampers, we've got those on 8 and 3. Aero does not apply for this one. And finally, for the diff, I would recommend 100% for the acceleration bias, 0 for decel, and I have really changed up that center split. It's very, very tail happy naturally in terms of the percentage. It's up around like 70 or 80. Reduce that down to 60, definitely. You might even want to reduce it lower, but as I said, the handling on this one is pretty much perfect, I would say. Now, if you want to get this tune and just not do it yourself, just grab it from my storefront, you can absolutely do that. This exact tune is on the storefront, so just look in the description below. You can use my gamer tag or use the tags in the description to find it, and you'll get it easily. So, all that remains, of course, is to actually see what can this crazy little LEGO car actually do. Now, as you'll notice right from the start of this event, if you look at the race timer and corroborate that with the speed, what I said is exactly right. This is doing 0 to 100 in more like 5 seconds. So I really do not understand what the benchmark is talking about with 38 seconds. That's ridiculous. So what you've got here is a 700 horsepower all-wheel drive Mini made of Lego that can hit 100 in 5 seconds like a supercar could. And incidentally, this point in the video is where I actually hadn't tested the top speed yet when I was tuning it and talking about it just now. Now I have tested it, and it's faster than the benchmark. It can actually do 210 miles per hour in 8th gear, so scratch what I said. The acceleration is fantastic and the top speed is great, and as you'll see from taking the turn at over 200, it handles like a dream. Trust me, if you need a tune for this LEGO Mini, try this one. You will love it. And if you want even more speed potentially, maybe even slipstream potential, then you could even drop that 8th gear number a little bit more. But it will sacrifice a little bit of acceleration when you're actually getting up to like 210. So it depends what you need from the car. I would recommend keeping it as it is, but you could play around with it if you want to. So grab it from my storefront if you haven't already. Follow this tune if you want to make some personal variations, and of course check out all of my other Forza tunes here on the channel as well, many of which have allowed a lot of people to win plenty of races. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.